Tommy Lauren lost her little job on Fox, but she had her little podcast and was making just as much money from that.
Hulk Hogan is back in the Hall of Fame for the WWE.
Yep.
Matter of fact, nobody is racist. You can say and do as much racist stuff as you want to, as long as you say, well, look, I was drunk, my diabetes was acting up, I forgot to take my medication, I ain't really mean it. You'll get forgiven and get another. Nobody, I want to be clear with the audience, nobody gets canceled for racism.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-hosts, Rozzy and Buff. But today we have a special guest, one of my homeboys, one of my, I will say, kind of favorite brothers in Houston, but don't tell anybody. If they listen, I'm going to deny it and say it was digitally mastered. But we have Robert Brown, Bobby, B3, I really respect this brother's mind, and we were having a conversation this weekend. It was like, I got you. I gotta get you on the show. So, Bobby, tell the people about yourself. Who are you?
I'm from Staten Island, New York. I'm a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Fall 11, went to Temple University in Philadelphia.
Did y'all win this weekend?
Did we win? No, we did not. We did not win this weekend. I went to law school at Texas Southern University, and I've been an attorney 4 years now. So,
really?
2 years, no 4 years, bro.
Bro, we're getting old because I remember you getting into law school, and now you've been an attorney for 4 years.
4 years, man.
And even the day you got into law school, that was a whole nother story.
Whole nother story, you know.
Oh God! But definitely thank you for joining us today. So we had an event this past Sunday, and as soon as Bobby and I started talking, he asked about the show because he felt like, yes, the Chappelle stuff and everything going on, it was a perfect time to talk about it. And I was like, yeah, we're not recording this week. We're gonna do a follow up. And in a brief discussion, I kind of heated debate amongst the minds. I was like, Bobby, I got to get you on the show. So first of all, fellas, what's going on? What's going on with your weeks, bro? How's it going?
I'm excited because the Movies That Made Us came out, our new season of it. So you guys, if you remember, I keep bringing it up. It's a really, really cool kind of background on kind of these iconic movies. So they added like Coming to America's in this season. They've got Halloween in this season. Last season they had Back to the Future and those types. So just kind of the background on how movies are made that are really iconic for, you know, us as growing up in our era. So really, really cool. Really excited about that. Been kind of binging that over the last couple days because I've been sick. The kids been sick. Everybody got sick over the weekend. So I had plenty of time to just watch TV. So, and a new He-Man came out. So, and this one sucks.
Is it He-Man or Master? Is it He-Man or Masters of the Universe?
It's actually He-Man, but it's like a Teen Titans Go type of He-Man. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. So I'm not putting that one out there. I'm just letting you guys know that there is one out there. You can watch it if you like. It wasn't for me.
What about you, Buff?
Oh man, Rozzy got the cooties. John Gruden, man. Like I was laughing as hard as I possibly could at Urban Meyer like a few days ago. And then all of a sudden I started seeing, okay, Gruden got this email that leaked. And then more and more of it came out. So that was just kind of wild to me, man, because he damn near got all 6 of the Infinity Stones. He had racism, he had sexism, he had homophobia.
Hold on. Let's stop. I feel like this might go into what we're going to talk about later.
Oh, it definitely will, because there's a Chappelle.
You want to
Dave Chappelle? Yeah. So I'll hold on.
Let's pump the brakes on it.
I'll just say that I watched Poltergeist for the first time in my life, and I kind of wanted the whole entire family to get killed for being stupid. I mean,
I agree with you on that one. Yeah, Carol Ann.
So
it makes no sense.
God. Okay, just real quick. Spoiler alert. Your daughter gets sucked into the other world for a week or however many days she was gone, right?
You got to chop that up as an L.
You know what I mean? You get her back. You get her back in this haunted house, right? You get her back. And your reaction is to sleep in that same house that night after going through all that? And then you get surprised when the monster comes back? Out of here, man. They should have got offed.
So there's a couple of things. Anybody that knows me, know I don't put kids in movies. Ain't been a single movie where there was a kid that good shit happened. The kid is always a culprit.
It's messed up.
Children in the corn, people under the stairs, all of it. Poltergeist. First of all, your kid gets sucked in the TV in the other world for a week. I mean, it's kind of like you on your own. My mama told me I had to be home every night by the streetlight. Times the streetlights come on. If I don't come home, I don't stay there no more. You decided to get sucked into another world? You find someplace else to stay.
You gotta get your child back.
No.
That was a supernatural kidnapping, Ferg.
Hey man, I'm just telling you the rules of engagement.
All right.
The little girl was evil. Carrie Ann, all of them. I don't mess with kids, dog. I don't mess with kids in TV, in movies. So I mean, that's
the little lady. Like walk into the light, Carol Ann. Come
nope. The kid was the source of all the evil. But y'all want to.
No, it wasn't her.
She's the root of the problem. I guarantee they would have kicked out the house. The problem would have been over. Bobby, what you got for us? Yeah, she's. Bobby, what's going on with you this week, man?
I've been watching Handmaid's Tale recently. Like I just started getting into it. Well, I don't want to say just started getting into it because I'm on season 3 now.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say that caught me off guard, but continue. Didn't expect that.
Yeah. So I've been watching that, and that has just been like a whirlwind of essentially like the same emotion, right? Just through the whole thing, it's just anger. And just frustration, like what's going on right now, like why, like it's one of those situations where like you just don't understand why there aren't more dead people. Like why haven't you killed more people yet? Like you understand? Like it's just like what's going on? Like it's the easiest thing to do because they're right there, right? Like they're unarmed. You feel what I'm saying? They're not even expecting it. Just kill them, But
logic.
So yeah. So it's been that and just a lot of work. It's been, so it's been packed week. It's been a packed week with respect to that. So.
Okay, that's cool. I have to catch the Handmaid's Tale. I've heard a lot about it. I've seen like a couple of previews and caught a couple of parts of the episodes, but I might have to catch up. So, but I'm in between a lot of series, so I need to catch up on BMF. Have you guys even started that?
I haven't.
I gotta find it on the bootleg site.
How do I watch it? Oh, I have this. I'm still using my Fire Stick. This live TV.
The bootleg site. Yeah.
No, actually, pay for it. I'm paying for it.
What?
Oh, he's getting money.
Oh, you rich. Yeah. That was a flex.
Yeah. You see his face too. It's like,
Nah. Because I'm about to cut the cord. That's what it's about.
Yeah. But BMF good. Don't forget Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang. I've been
so good.
So I'm in Wu-Tang. I think I'm on episode 4, like 4 or something like that. So I hope they make it, man. I think they'll make a great group.
Yeah, I really think they have a lot of potential, man. They have a lot of potential.
Like they make beautiful music together. Just been trying to catch up, and I'm pretty sure you guys still have not taken my advice and caught up on the Wonder Years. Nope.
I did. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. So I
can actually relate to the kid.
Yeah.
So
a lot of what he's going through, I feel I get it. And so it's
Buff doesn't seem entertained at all. You didn't watch the original, so.
Nope. But I'm the king of not seeing popular stuff. So
yeah, that's true. So did y'all see that Stallone was making a documentary though? It's like all about composers and stuff like that. Y'all didn't see that? Oh man, so like it's all kind of. He was gonna be Vivaldi, and then he's gonna have Van Damme in it, and he's gonna be Mozart, and then Schwarzenegger like took a deep breath, looked in the camera, and said, "I'll be Bach."
It's about damn time. So you know what happened? I went through a whirlwind of emotions in just that short period of time. Because I'm like, I feel like he's taking my advice and setting up a joke. He's just gonna throw it in there. But then you started giving details. I'm like, oh, maybe this is a real movie. And then when you pause for that second with Schwarzenegger, I'm like, it's about to happen. And you got it. So
what is that? I don't punch up, I don't punch down. I punch lines. Boom. There it is.
God, Christ. Oh man. That was one of your better ones, bro. I like that one. I really like that one. The setup, the way you threw it in there. Sophie's been doing well. She's been tutoring you.
She has. She's like, this is how you got to do it. So she's got company tonight. So I figured I'd let her keep playing with her friends.
Oh, so ask her she didn't invite me over when you get a chance. Let her know.
All right, I got you. Yeah.
So I think for me, it's just been a good week, a long week. I'm going home this weekend. You know, I had a death in the family, so take a second to just think about reflect on my family, my cousins. So to my Ferguson family, you know, we lost a good one this last week, and BB will be missed. There's a lot of us. I want to say the number is 76 of us, grandkids from my grandmother, first cousins and brothers and sisters and all that, 76. And as far as I know, she's the first one that we've lost. So it hit a lot of us hard because it was unexpected. So BB will be lost and missed. Excuse me. You will be missed. To my family, to Shelly and the rest of Naughty and everybody else, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend, and my heart goes out to you guys. So outside of that, I think let's go ahead and do what we came here to do. Let's get into the show.
My question was just, what do you think his goal was with that special, and not necessarily the special, but the material, what was his goal? Because it seems like his last, I want to say 3 specials have been geared around, that topic, and him just kind of trying to expound on it. So just want to know what you all think the goal of that special was.
I think the goal of the closer was to try and get people that don't agree on something to be able to disagree without canceling them or anything like that. I think his goal is to say that, hey, we don't necessarily have to agree on everything. We can make jokes about certain things, but he seems to be really speaking up for canceling people. He mentioned the baby, of course, and he even mentioned he went all the way back to how it was harder for Cassius Clay to change his name than it was for Bruce Jenner to change his sex. And so he's just saying that people that have questions or speak up and say, hey, I don't really rock with that. I'm not advocating for violence on people that are for it or anything like that, but don't necessarily cancel them. I think that was like one of his driving messages.
Go right.
Yeah, I think it was definitely he ultimately his goal was to make people laugh, right? But at the same time make people think. That's always been Chappelle's kind of thing. Well, not always. I will say, Chappelle started off women be shopping. So wasn't that Reggie? Didn't he play Reggie?
He was Reggie.
Yeah. Okay. So since he kind of came back, especially off of his hiatus and everything, he really wanted to start make people think through consciously what he was talking about and make social commentary, but at the same time make people laugh. And he is a master at it. And so I really think that ultimately what he wanted to do is just make people laugh at some uncomfortable material. But at the same time, I think he wanted to put a bow on all of these Netflix specials, and the theme that he's been kind of going through since he started these specials of talking about, you aren't listening to me if you think that I'm talking down on gay people or anything. Literally, he was talking about situations that are happening. And most of the times he was really pointing at white people, saying white people are doing these things, and talking about the conveniences of you can be gay when you need to be a minority, but then you can be white when you need to be white. He talked about, how he always made the commentary, like Byron said, about Cassius Clay versus Bruce Jenner. He was talking about the whole Bruce Jenner, or not Bruce Jenner, what's her name now? Caitlyn Jenner getting Woman of the Year, her first year of being a woman, and how, there are actually, I think, Byron, you said it in One Night Trans, right? Trans women aren't real women. You went ahead and you went on a limb and said that, right? I mean, but it's things that you need to think about and that have to be talked about. And for some reason, people are just shouting down anybody that wants to bring up the topics and talk about it. And he's got the platform and the star power to be able to say, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm just going to tell you what I think or what other people are thinking. And it's not in a negative way. I'm bringing up these things to have a conversation. So I think really what he was trying to do is just bring it out in a way that made people laugh, because ultimately he is a comedian, and that's what he really wants to be able to do.
I don't know if I'm using the right words for this. I want to say it's the hypocrisy of like bigotry in cancel culture.
Absolutely.
Because he hit on so many different topics, and everyone can kind of, you're cool with this joke, but you're not cool with this joke. You're cool with this joke, but you're not cool with that joke. You're like, it's, and if I don't agree with you, or if I laugh at this joke, then I'm a bigot, or I'm this or that. It's like, we all have problems. We all have things, but we have to respect. There is a need to respect other people's opinions and dialogue, and understand that we don't necessarily all have to be on the same page. And I think I was saying this the other day, Bobby, I think there's a certain level of respect that we should have for each other, and even have for differences of opinions. But I can be a supporter of trans women, but still and it's just kind of what been the highlight of the trans talk, be a supporter of trans women and their movement and their challenges and their struggles. But I can also feel adamant that there is a difference between a trans woman and a cis woman, because that's what they're technically called. There's a terminology for it. But if I acknowledge that, then I'm transphobic. Like, people are setting the parameters of cancel culture. Like, we're so big on, you have to check all 10 boxes to be acceptable. Like, look, hey man, 2 years ago I was checking 2 of these boxes. Be happy that I'm checking 7 of these right now. I'm trying to get better. And if I don't check all 10, then I'm a bad person. I'm transphobic. Or, and then like they were saying, the fact that, I don't know. I don't want to get in a struggle battle, but all struggle might not be created equal, because when you can step outside of your struggle and literally punch down on somebody else, I think the part where he was saying the young lady's daughter, was that the one he was saying they called the police on him?
Nah, that was a guy with a cowboy belt on. Big.
Okay. The gay dude. It's just like, as much as you want me to respect your struggle, you don't respect mine because of the dangers of my struggle as well. So I'm supposed to respect you as someone who's gay, but you don't respect me as a black man. And the fact that what you're about to do by calling these police could endanger me. So you as a white gay male don't have the exact same struggles as a black gay male, and which are not the same struggles as a black male. So there's all these, moving parts. So he was trying to do a lot. Basically, Bobby, I'm pretty sure you have the right answer, though.
No, I don't have the right answer. Like I had said, I believe Sunday, I'm not sure that Dave Chappelle is doing what he thinks he's doing, you know, when he's on the mic and he's speaking, because, you know, like Ferg, like you said, like, you know, not everybody has the luxury of stepping outside of their struggle and, you know, I guess taking a break from it. But, you know, as a black man, as a black person, I feel like we should be the most empathetic to any other group that is having a civil rights movement, right? Like, I'm not saying that we should be the staunch supporters of it or anything like that. I'm talking about empathy, because it's like, you know, if Dave is trying to build this bridge between, you know, the trans community, cancel culture, and comedy, and all of these different things. That's because that's what it seems like. He seems like he's just, and it seems like he's just trying not to be misunderstood. He's trying, hence the numerous specials about like the topic. He's just trying not to be misunderstood and let people know, like, look, I'm not punching down on trans people. I'm not punching down the gay community. I'm just saying, don't be so, you know, hard pressed to defend yourself all the time, right? Like, don't be so hard pressed that it might not be that serious, or you're, you know, it's just a joke, this, that, and the third. But you have to understand that, like, these people exist, right? So if you say something to anybody that they don't like, it's absolutely within their rights, and it's fair for them to say, I don't like the way you said that, right? And then not only I don't like the way you said that, here's why I don't like the way you say that. So now, if I'm challenging you that if you want to make jokes about me, or if you want to talk about me, or make fun of me, or what have you, I'm giving you the recipe to do it in an educated way, so that we can participate in this with you, so that you can continue to do this. But if you decide, like, nah, whatever, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and because I have the freedom to do that, and you're just sensitive, you don't like it, right? It's like, okay, at what point does it become disrespectful? And at what point do we stop sitting here saying these people are sensitive and these people are defending themselves, right? So I think it's just that concept that I don't think people were looking at when it comes to Dave Chappelle.
So I understand.
Dave's not a college professor, though. Dave's a comedian. So, like, you have to put it in the context of what he's doing. So there's always going to be a group that says that. Well, I mean, the thing is, there's always going to be a group that says I don't like that, right? I mean, like, he talked about what's her name, the trans woman that killed herself, Daphne. He talked about Daphne, right? He's like, Daphne would love that joke because she understands comedy. And so that's the thing about it, is him trying to say, he said it multiple times, I'm not talking down to you. I'm not, you know, belittling trans people. I like trans people. You know, he even used the whole, I have a trans friend. But, you know, like, that's the whole racist thing. You know, that's their thing.
We got
it. Yeah. I wanted to kind of explain. But anyway, I mean, he used that, but when it comes down to, he's not on this whole, I have to try to have this educated conversation with you, because it's not going to be as entertaining. It's not funny. Well, so he has to be able to to bridge that line of, I'm bringing up real life situations, telling stories, because that's really ultimately what, if you listen to the thing, all he's doing is telling a bunch of different stories about what happened to him in his life and things. He's just telling them in a funny manner and throwing in some punchlines. But there's not many times that he's saying anything that he either didn't experience or he didn't feel himself. So, you know, it's hard for somebody to come and say, you can't say these things. It makes me feel uncomfortable, when he's talking about his lived experiences. The same way Daphne was like, I'm being a human. These are my human experiences.
So,
yeah. And I don't think that Dave is just a comedian anymore. I think he took himself out of that, you know, that category a while ago. I think he's now a social commentator that makes jokes. Like, he's no longer just a comedian, and to try to look at him like that minimizes the impact of what he says about different demographics. So if I just look at him as a comedian, anything he said about white people, I'm just going to look at it as a joke. But I don't look at him. I don't look at him as just a comedian, and I don't think he is. So when he says things about white people, I listen a little more intently. When he says things about the gay community, I listen a little more intently. because I know he's trying to say more than just a joke. You know, it just so happens that his perspective on things, you know, it can be funny, you know, and it can be funnier than the average person, you know, and he could probably turn it into a joke. But I can see, like him, Chris Rock, these guys, like they've taken themselves out of just comedians, and they're just like, okay, yeah, we tell jokes, but we're social commentators. So, you know, with respect to like the trans community and how he talks to them, even when you said like him using Daphne, like he was just using and I'm not going to say he did it intentionally or unintentionally, but he was using Daphne as a shield against the trans community, essentially saying, hey, if she's okay with what I'm doing, if she laughs at what I'm doing, if we're actually friends, if she defends me anytime people try to come at me about trans stuff, then I can't be as bad as y'all are saying because she, a member of your community, is defending me. So it can't be that bad, right? It can't be that bad. It has to actually be jokes when it's like, no, because what you're doing essentially is you're just repackaging white supremacist ideology, right? That we Black people have been on the receiving end of, and we're just targeting a different group. But we're just repackaging it as what? Our opinion now, all right? Or as a joke. And that is what quells everything. And then as it quells it, it also minimizes somebody's humanity at the same time, and it's detrimental. And I heard on the on your One Night Trans episode when you were talking about like how your kids, you know, grow up, how they would look at the, you know, at our generation, and it's like our kids, the next generation is going to look at this generation the way we looked at the generations before us when those white people were talking about Black people and like integration and things like that. We're going to like, we looked at it like back then when they were talking about it, it was just like, yeah, we're just like, you know, this is going around. People are talking about it. This isn't like a crazy thing to say because it's like, this is new, right? Like it's new seeing Black people in the same places as white people and thinking it's okay. But when we look at it now, it's like, yo, yeah, y'all were really growing up around some like evil people. Like it was wild. Like it was nuts back then, right? So it's like our kids are going to look at our generation now when we talk about the gay community, and because it's going to be more widespread, it's going to be more acceptable, it's going to be a lot more inclusive, and they're going to look at this time because they're going to be, because the best thing to do is see how the closer ages in like 20 years when they look back on it. It's like, damn, this is cringy. You know what I'm saying? Like this was wild. Like they were openly talking like this back then. It was like, this is crazy.
But the thing about
a lot to unpack there, Bobby, and I think you missed the mark in some ways. One, you seem to think that he doesn't want people to disagree with his jokes about gay people. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's more or less speaking against trying to cancel people. He even said it at one point. Taking someone's livelihood is almost like death. Now, if you want to disagree and criticize his jokes and say, hey, that wasn't funny, that's one thing. But when you start trying to cancel people, then that's a whole different thing. Now, you say he used Daphne as a shield. It's him that is pointing out that they are able to use their white, because let's be completely clear, okay? Because there are a lot of Black, gay, and trans people that suffer from violence and death, and they hardly get a mention, okay? But when it's someone white, it gets amplified. It gets the megaphone treatment. And the gay movement, I've asked this question on past episodes before. You know, why are they seemingly progressing more than black issues sometimes? It's because they have white people within that community, and at the end of the day, like he said in one of his jokes, they have the ability to be white when they want to be white versus just being gay. And my last point, because I know Ferguson waiting to jump in. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a chance to touch on this, but John Gruden, his emails leaked, racially charged, right? Talking about DeMar Smith, the size of his lips, criticizing, saying players need to be fired for kneeling and protesting or whatever like that. He was allowed to coach an entire game of a team of players that's predominantly Black. He even has a gay Black person on his team, first openly gay person on an NFL roster. He was able to coach a game. More emails leak about how teams shouldn't be pressured to pick a queer player. Now he's gone. And that's what he's talking about. What he's saying is, you're right. We as Black people, we should be the first person to look at other minority groups and empathize with them. And I think for the more enlightened us, we do. We in our community, we talked about this before. There's definitely far too much homophobia in the Black community. But for the most of us, we try to be empathetic. We understand them, and we want to fight that fight with them. All we're saying is, don't forget about us. And I think more or less his criticism is not so much at gay people or the LGBT community. It's about at America and their reaction to when something happens to a gay person versus a Black person. The whole joke about people was criticizing the baby joke and saying that he told it out of context when he killed somebody in Walmart. It was in self-defense. That's true. But more people heard about what the baby said, which was completely wrong, full stop. What he said at that show on stage, full stop, no excuse. It was completely wrong. More people heard about that than him killing another man. And that's what he's talking about.
So I know you want to respond, Bobby, but I'm going to take a step back and add something to what I think your original question. I think his intent was what we're doing now. He's more than a comedian. There's hundreds of comedians. How often after a special do people talk about the intent of what the comedian's work was about? It's only a few that you might have a funny joke like with a Kevin Hart, like he might have a funny joke or something like that, but it's never like, man, what Kevin was talking about, let's talk about that. Let's go deeper. It's only a few. Like it's Chris Rock right now. I think Chris Rock, Trevor Noah, and Dave Chappelle are people who make you think. And I think part of it is to open the dialogue. Huh?
Bill Maher. I saw Byron trying to get off mute. Bill Maher.
Okay. But I think it's that like, hey, I'm gonna cause this conflict. Let's debate. Let's be uncomfortable. I don't want everybody to agree. We have to learn how to have those uncomfortable conversations. Like I said, I think it's about growth. Like you said, our kids are gonna look at us, and our kids are gonna look at us and like, you guys were so backwards. But it doesn't happen overnight. I look back, I listened to One Night Trains again. There's a couple of things I wanted to change about what we said. So even something as simple as when we kept saying their lifestyle, we said that several times throughout the show. I've become more educated. It's not a lifestyle. This is who they are.
Did we correct that at the end? We didn't correct that at the end? I know I said it on the show before.
I think we went back and corrected on another show. Okay. I just listened to that snippet, so it might be at the end. But it's even the fact that we had to go back. I wouldn't make that mistake today and talk about their lifestyle. This was our 5th show. We're probably on 105 shows, so 100 shows later, 107. So over 100 shows later, we're more educated, we're more empathetic, we're more knowledgeable of what's going on in that community.
Congratulations, by the way. That's a milestone right there.
Thank you. But it's you. How many times you have this conversation if somebody doesn't poke the bear and make you have this conversation? How do we get better if there's only so many? It's comedy and tragedy that make people have conversations. It's those things that really make you, that dialogue. Like what the transgender community is going through, it was happening before the special. After the special, we weren't talking about this a week ago. We weren't talking about this 2 weeks ago. We weren't talking about this a month ago. Somebody has to say something. And I think that's his point. It's like, hey, I'm going to say some stuff. I'm going to get some people riled up. And I want to see what y'all do. I want to see what kind of conversations come. I want to see what happens when this happens. Because just like Dave Chappelle, none of us are perfect. We're still learning. And if you want me to accept you, you have to kind of accept me where I'm at as getting better as well. Like I might not agree with you 100% on everything, like I was saying earlier about the real woman or what how did he put it? He was like, you're kind of
impossible.
Oh yeah,
impossible.
He said, impossible.
Like I might agree with everything, but I'm like, hey, there's still a difference between you and a cis woman. And if you don't respect the fact that I scientifically look at that, then and I should be canceled because of that, then there's the problem. I have to agree with you 100% to be in your world, and that's not cool. I know you got some stuff to say because I should have an opinion if I'm not of that community, right?
No. I'm not even saying. I'm just saying, like, when you had said, like, you know, if you can't respect the fact that I, you know, have that opinion or that thought based on, you know, science, I guess my question would be, like, what's the point of putting that opinion out there? Like, what's the purpose behind it? Like, what does it do, right? Like, if there's a trans woman, like, and then you say, look, I just want you to know.
No.
So
it's not that. It's not, I would never just say, oh yeah, you're trans, but I just want you to know, I know you're not all the way. No, it's when we talk about some of these women competing in sports. There's a biological difference. Like Caitlyn Jenner winning Woman of the Year.
Yeah. Right. Like, but like you figure, you know, you want to put that like asterisk on there, like, yeah, you're scientifically, you weren't born a woman. And I just want to keep that thought rolling. You know, I just want that in the stratosphere, you know, if you ever forget. And it just makes me think about like the time where it was like in law or in writing that we were 3/5 of a human, right? And listening to white people be like, yo, like, all right, y'all are humans. You feel what I'm saying? But y'all are really only 3/5. You feel what I'm saying? Like biblically. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like
that's not kind of how it went.
Listen what I'm saying. What is the purpose, right, of trying to tell me if you say I'm a human, then say that. Right? It's like, what's the point of putting the asterisk there saying like, but look, because you have to understand that they were all in a room, these white people discussing whether or not we should go, it's 3/5, maybe we should make him a quarter. Right? It's like, no. Let's just go all the way. Let's just make him a whole human. Hold on, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, that was all about power and congressional seats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's
exactly,
what it was. It wasn't that they were less human. It was that how are we going to count them?
We can't let the South have all these seats.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to. So the North was like, nah, y'all ain't getting all them seats. But we don't want to go down to congressional law. But
that was strategy more so than philosophy. That was like the South believes in having slaves, and they want to count them so they can get all these congressional seats. We're not going to let them vote. Yeah, so
that's the other part about it. It's like the North was like, no, you can't have all those people, but then not let them vote. So if you're not going to let them vote, then they won't count as a whole person, so that you don't get all the extra seats that 17% of your population controls. Because you have all these, enslaved people. So that, like Byron said, that's a strategy. But what I want to come back to is back to the whole asterisk on the trans women thing. It's why you need that is like Ferg said. There are things in America or in the world that are gender specific right now. So like he talked about sports. There's things that we operate based on gender right now. And what we have to, it's like weight classes in boxing, right? It's like, look, that they're women. You can call them women all day, but there are certain things that we're going to still carve out and say they were physically, genetically a male. And so coming over, we'll call them female and everything. But when it comes down to these certain things, then they're going to have their own lane. That trans women will have their own lane. We'll have women, trans women, trans men's, like, and you just have different categories in those certain things. So it's having to think through what makes more sense to level and equity, right? Like we always talk about equity. We want equity, but then you can't, like even Dave Chappelle said it, right? Women are like, how is that equity when you have a genetically, male that is, they're transitioned to a female, but ultimately their musculature and their skeletal system and everything is of a male. Let's not forget that. So
I'm gonna be ignorant then.
Yeah, so you go ahead.
What were you about to say, Bobby?
No, go ahead. I'm gonna let you get the ignorance out.
I'm pretty sure all our parents told us to never put our hands on what?
Women.
A woman.
So let's say you're at the club.
Mm-hmm.
And you bump into this lady and you're like, my bad, ma'am. She's like, you stepped on my sneakers. She's ready to box. But you know for a fact that This woman is a trans woman. Asterisk. I don't want to fight anybody. I'm 40 years old. I don't want to fight anyone. But are you going to brace yourself the same way with this trans woman who still has all the testosterone you have because she's a woman? Are you approaching that any different? Like, you have to mentally realize that I respect you as a woman. I don't want to fight, but there's still physically, you have all the advantages and strength of a man. Like, I know that's a far-fetched thing, but it's just like, I have to realize that there are certain differences that I have to respect when it comes to sports, when it comes to things like that. It's just, if you don't recognize that, then you might get knocked the fuck out because you just want to you don't want to respect the asterisk. You respect an asterisk, Bobby?
Mm-hmm. Respect that. That's the name of the show right there.
with the sports, right? With the sports metric.
But no, are you bracing yourself first? Are you boxing Caitlyn Jenner?
No, I'm not boxing Caitlyn Jenner.
So Caitlyn Jenner can swing on you.
I'm not going to let her hit me. I wouldn't let any woman put her hands on me. You feel what I'm saying?
But you can most likely, most women, you can maneuver around to make sure she doesn't put her hands on you. But Caitlyn Jenner still has a physical capabilities of a man. So you sitting there trying to, I'm not going to let her put her hands on me, might get you boxed up.
I just wouldn't let her put her hands on me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to let her put her hands on me. Right? Like if she's swinging at me, I'm moving out the way and I'm trying to get out of dodge. It's the same thing I would do with any other woman. And if I have the ability to do so, the only way I'm hitting a woman is if I have no other choice. If I have no other choice, she's getting hands. But if I have the choices, I'm getting out of dodge.
I was in Austin this past week for training, and there was a transgendered woman, and when I say she had on kind of like a halter top vest type, everything out, dress, a skirt, hat, enjoying life, but she was about 6'2", 225, and looked like she could drag anybody in that club. But she's a transgender woman, and you talking about moving her out the way or not letting her hit you.
Yeah, I mean, Layla Ali is probably about that same size, and she's beating everybody. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Okay, so we're going to do one-offs. Okay, we're going to do the one-offs. That's fine. Byron, go.
No, I actually wanted to hear his take. He's about to get into sports. He's about to answer the sports question.
Oh, yeah. So I think with respect to sports, people are just lazy, which is why they just say, okay, you're a woman now, so you just keep competing with women. That doesn't make any sense, right? Like let's give a easy sport with easy metrics to like actually look at. Track, right? There are everybody on here, right? Are there women that you're faster than?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yeah. Yes.
Are there women that are faster than you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm in a race and let's say this person over here, they run a 10-second 100, who should they be competing against?
That is
They should be competing against people who run the same kind of time.
You say
That's a bad example.
That's a very bad example. I mean, you got to think about
if you run because if you're a woman and I'm a man, but I run 10 seconds in the 100 meter, my 10-second 100 meter isn't faster than your 10-second 100 meter. My 10-second 100 meter is only going to be faster than yours if I run a 999. That's the only way my 10 second is going to be faster.
But the training and everything that you have to do to get your body to be able to do that is very, very different.
If you look at the bell curve, if the average male is running, average professional track star is running at 10 seconds, but the average woman is running 12. Like it's a gap.
If there's a trans woman, right, and this trans woman prior to her transitioning ran a 10-second 100 meter. She transitioned. She still runs a 10-second 100 meter. Why would you put her against women that run an 11? Right? You would put that trans woman against other people that run similar times. You need to put competitors against competitors. You don't have to put this competitor against a competitor of their gender just because they're the same gender. You put them in the same race because they run around the same time.
So you feel the same way.
Person.
You feel the same way with sports that involve physicality?
That's also different. You have to look at people's metrics prior to and after. So if this person was, let's say they were boxing, they were a heavyweight, right? But then they transition, right? Now they're a trans woman, but their punching power remains the same. All those metrics remain the same. You don't put them against a heavyweight woman,
but they may
right?
not though. They may not because a lot of them go through like gene therapy and everything else. And so so it's hard. They got more estrogen, less testosterone, and all that.
But if now they transition, they have less punching power, they have less agility, less speed, then you put them against somebody that makes sense to fight with. You don't just throw them in, okay, you were fighting against men before, you're a woman now fight women. No.
But Bobby, that's not what's happening.
Of it.
That's not what's happening.
The professionalism is you wanting to somebody that's competitive.
Hold on. Bobby, that's not what's happening. What's happening is men are transitioning to women and wanting to compete against women. So why are you calling us lazy when they're the ones that are transitioning to a field that gives them an advantage? How are we lazy? They're the ones doing it.
When I say,
you think that's okay?
When I say that's okay? No, what I'm saying is when I say what
is that okay?
What I think what is okay
for a man to transition to a woman and compete against women, girls. Okay,
no. But the people I'm saying are lazy. The people that I'm saying are lazy are the ones that are not modifying their competitors. They're just saying, okay, you're a trans woman now, so you're considered a woman, so now race women. They're not even looking at their metrics. They're just throwing them there.
But that's the whole point. That's why there's the asterisk. It's like I have to acknowledge. I respect your movement.
I have to acknowledge that in sports. But what you were just saying, you have to acknowledge it, period. I'm saying
no. I'm not saying I'm gonna meet a trans woman and say, "Hey, I know you used to be a man," but like it's you. That's why there's an asterisk. The asterisk doesn't. If there wasn't an asterisk, if there was no need for an asterisk, it would be in a whole different category. Like there's a small there. The asterisk is for these like little one-offs. Like here's a side note. Here's some subtext to this. Hey, there's certain situations where I have to acknowledge the differences in you and cis women. Now, it's not on me. Like I say in sports and something like that, I don't have the list. I haven't thought about like, well, okay, this is when the asterisk works. This is when the asterisk works. But there's an asterisk. We have to respect that. The problem is in sports, when we bring up the asterisk, women are saying, well, trans women are saying, no, I'm a woman, respect me, no asterisk. And I'm like, but there has to be an asterisk. And if you don't, then you almost don't respect women because there are certain capabilities. You're running a 10 flat might be the average pace for a male track athlete. 10 flat might be the fastest woman that year. So you at average are better or competing with the best. So you couldn't compete with the best here, but you're among the best. And that's what they keep seeing. I think they won some like gold medals this year. Mm-hmm. And it's like I have a daughter. We all have daughters. If our daughters are athletes, they've been competing their whole life to make it to the Olympics or something like that, and they lose because of this technicality. Because this person is physically stronger. They were an athlete, but they could not compete at in their level. And as a male athlete, they were 25th in the country. But they're the number one female athlete in the world. That's not fair for somebody who's. I was gonna say, I think it's important too that you're talking about like the top 1% of the 1% of the 1% too, Bobby. Like in general, when you're talking about high school athletes and college athletes, like I don't think that's something you want to do when you have, you're talking about mixing the genders in sports. Like you mentioned track and field. The men's world record for 100 meters is almost like a full second faster than women. So I think they are doing the right thing because for 99.9% of the time, women should compete against women, men should compete against men. So that's where I'm at with that. Man. And so, and with that asterisk, if let's say that's the only caveat to my asterisk, but you can't respect that because that seems like that's a problem because in sports, we're kind of glossing over it. I think that's one of the biggest time when the asterisk comes into play. It's in sports. It's like, well, no, you accept me as a woman or you don't. And it's like, where do we draw the?
I don't think that you mixing the genders doesn't respect them as a woman. I think you're looking at them as like, yo, as an athlete, right? These are your capabilities. So, and as the spectators, all we want to see, right, are the best athletes compete against the best athletes.
Well,
right?
I'm a woman. I'm competing against either I'm a woman or I'm not, Bobby. That's it.
You're taking a lot of opportunities away from women. You're taking a lot of opportunities away from women.
How are you taking the opportunity? You would actually be giving...
Because by and large, no, you won't. Because by and large, there are going to be more men that are faster than women. And so let's say you got 10 slots, and let's say there are 2 women that are fast enough to compete against those other 8 men. Those other 8 women that could have been competing are no longer able to compete. No, you're lessening the slots for women.
I'm not saying just take women and make them compete against men. What I'm saying is that if you have a trans woman and her metrics show like, okay, her racing just against these women over here doesn't make any sense because she's clearly just way faster than them. So we're not going to put her in this heat. We're going to put her in a heat that makes sense. So if she runs a 10, a 9, I'm not saying put her against other trans women.
You're trying to explain your idea of how to handle the asterisk. But either way it goes, you have an asterisk.
There's an asterisk, and that's the point.
There's an asterisk there.
Yeah, I understand what you all are saying, but the reason I was saying it is because you're saying like, yo, it's not fair that these trans women are competing against natural women and they're just beating them up in all these sports. And I'm telling you, that's not their fault. It's the fault of the people putting these competitors against each other.
I totally agree with that. I'm not. Again, that goes back to we're not trying to place blame on anyone. And going back to Chappelle's, he's not placing blame on anybody except for white people. But so what it comes down to is that, like, people aren't listening. You're not listening, and especially the LGBT community is not listening to what everybody's saying when it comes to these things. It's like, look, we got to have an asterisk because of this, this, and this. If you disagree with those things, let's talk about those things, but don't cancel me because I think we need an asterisk because of those things.
What's wrong with cancellation? I don't really get it. Like, I know you said earlier, like, even when Dave Chappelle said, like, yo, you take somebody's livelihood, I don't see why that's an issue. I really don't.
I don't care. I cancel folks all the time. I'm totally on that. I don't really care. But I'm just saying is, if you're going to cancel, have a reason and stick by your reason.
No. I don't want to be canceled. But the thing about it is we're on a show right now. The things we said could piss somebody off. We can all get canceled tomorrow. And I don't think we said anything disrespectful because at the end of the day, we're trying to understand better and create dialogue and explain how we see the world. And because you see the world or somebody in this other community sees the world differently, we stand the possibility of being canceled because we disagree. You are good until you admitted that there's an asterisk. And you don't support us because you don't see me as a full woman, because there should not be a difference. I am a woman, hear me roar. I should be able to compete against no other women, no questions asked. And I'm like, when you say, you could possibly cancel. And I think that's the problem. If I don't agree with you 100%, then we're wrong. And that's what the problem with cancel culture is. Like, you have to check all the boxes. If you don't check all the boxes, you're kind of still acceptable being canceled.
Yeah. I mean, that's not necessarily how I see cancel culture at all, honestly. But I understand where you're coming from, though. I don't. That's not my take on cancel culture. I don't see it as like you have to check all the boxes or else you're completely canceled. I think it's all about you saying certain things that negatively impact a demographic, a community. And once you do that, right, and then they react to you like, yo, you gotta go. You gotta go because you're in the way now. Now you're in the way and we don't have time to try and rehabilitate you because, you didn't take the time out to understand what you were saying before you said it. Because the whole thing about cancel, there are really only like 4 things people are getting canceled for: homophobia, racism, sexual assault, sexual misconduct, and misogyny. Right?
Nobody's getting canceled for racism.
That's not true. Nobody. You had like several people get cut off like their Marvel shows because they were racist. The one that just got cut off of The Boys, on Amazon. That white lady. You feel what I'm saying? Because she was talking crazy about black people, so they got her.
You don't think she's ever going to get a job again? You don't think she's ever going to get a job again?
I haven't heard her. I haven't heard from her, but I don't know. But what I'm saying is, because of these,
nobody has ever been canceled for racism, bro. No, Don Imus had a job in like 2 months after the nappy holes comment. Nobody gets canceled for racism.
They may have lost their job, but they don't get canceled. They have soft landings. Tommy Lauren lost her little job on Fox, but she had her little podcast and was making just as much money from that.
Hulk Hogan is back in the Hall of Fame for the WWE.
Yep.
Nobody get. And matter of fact, nobody is racist. You can say and do as much racist stuff as you want to, as long as you say, "Well, look, I was drunk, my diabetes was acting up, I forgot to take my medication, I ain't really mean it." You'll get forgiven and get another. Nobody. I want to be clear with the audience. Nobody gets canceled for racism.
Let's be clear. All those people, right?
Donald Trump was president.
Okay, but what did Donald Trump also have? He also had a black caucus that was defending him. Every single time we have people that are racist, we also have black people coming out rehabilitating their character. They take the time out to rehabilitate their character. You have John Gruden that will say negative things and still have black commentators come up like, "Yo, he's not even really like that. I know him." Drew Brees can say, "Yo, I don't really understand."
Gay people have that too. What are you talking about?
No.
Elton John performed with Eminem. What are you talking about? Jay was just on CNN defending Dave Chappelle's. What do you mean? They have the same thing. Jane Flame or whatever her name is, the transgender. She was on CNN with Don Lemon just the other night defending the whole Chappelle special. They have it too. But you can still be canceled for being homophobic. You're not gonna get canceled for being racist.
They don't have it the way that we have it because we just let it go. We just rehabilitate people's character. That's all we do. I don't want to say that's all we do, but a lot of the times that's what we do. There's always like this like black caper that comes out and just like no. I know.
And what I'm telling you is that there's a gay caper. There are gay capers that come out too, and you still can be canceled.
Well, clearly
that's not what prevents people from getting canceled. Nobody cape for Don Imus. You know what I mean?
This is what with respect to canceling, right? You have these situations where people get canceled, and every time they get canceled, there are think pieces, radio interviews, CNN interviews, all of these things that are in your face as to why the person got canceled, why people are canceling them, the way that they felt about it, this, that, the third. Yet and still, people keep doing the same thing to get canceled, and then they wonder why they're getting canceled. It's like, yo, you see what's going on, but yet you still want to do it. So now you got to deal with it.
Them. Those isms are ingrained in them. They are in that ism. So
and they got to deal with it.
Yeah, they definitely have to deal with it. But we can't act like it doesn't exist, right? And again, going back to Chappelle, that is what Chappelle is saying, is that it's out there, and I'm going to tell these stories to let you know that it's out there.
So is it fair to say, because you could be canceled. You said there's 4 things you can be canceled for. So reiterate those for the audience, Bobby.
Homophobia, racism, sexual misconduct, misogyny.
Okay. On some level, there is some backlash. Can we agree there's backlash for those?
Yeah.
Maybe not cancel. But all cancellations are created equal. And
I think misogyny and racism you get away with. I don't know anybody that's been canceled for misogyny.
Man.
We have a whole industry called a hip hop culture that bathes in misogyny. I mean, you don't get canceled for. You get 2 of those 4 you get canceled for. And also, I think we're exaggerating how many people have been canceled. I can only really think of about 3 or 4 people that have been canceled.
Okay. So who are those people?
Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. What's the creepy dude that was in movies?
Weinstein.
Harvey. Yeah, Weinstein. Yeah. Why I call him creepy? Yeah, but yeah, him and like one other person. Yeah.
Okay. So you think cancel culture is just a fad? It's just you.
It's not a fad. I feel like so. I think Rozzy and Bobby said that they say cancellation is not that bad. I'm totally against cancellation, but Rozzy canceling Chrisette Michele is one thing. But Rozzy starting an organization, leading the charge, trying to get thousands and hundreds of thousands of people to sign on and contacting industries to make sure she never works again. the attempt to do that is what I'm against. If that person is so bad, then the masses themselves will individually, like I did with R. Kelly, like Rozzy has did with certain artists, they will cancel it themselves. But when you start leading the charge because someone says something that you don't like or you disagree with, I'm against that, because everybody is susceptible to saying something that offends somebody. Do you want that charge led against you? I don't think you do.
And I think that's where me and you started talking Sunday, Bobby, is I think, especially as people are trying to get better, like I said, there's things on this, we've said on this show that based off of cancel culture today, if we got in the wrong hands, people possibly want to cancel us, right? And I don't think we said anything bad. If anything, it's like we're trying to understand better. But at the same time, a lot of times, especially you play a snippet, respect the asterisk or this, whatever the case may be, we can get canceled. And all cancellations aren't equal. I think all people who say things aren't equal. Like, somebody just being completely transphobic is different from the conversations we've had today. But at the end of the day, we all are susceptible for being canceled by the trans community just because of the conversations we had. If they don't like the fact that we say there is an asterisk, and we're just going to use the word asterisk, then we're upsetting somebody. We're not respecting their difference. We're not respecting their challenges as a woman, and we're canceled. And
yeah, like I want to know what joke or what comment or what was it that was like, okay, that's too far. That thing is across the line in the Chappelle special, because I haven't seen any article or anybody say that's the joke that we say they should cancel. That's the thing that was too far. All they keep saying is, like he talked about, those same talking points of he's talking about the trans community, so it shouldn't be. Like, give me the comment. Give me the thing he said, because then I know not to go that far, and I know how not to get canceled. But they can't do that because I don't see anything that's like, oh, that one. I don't even know one point that was like that I cringed and was like, ooh, I don't know if that one's gonna go over well. Like and I watched it twice, and both times I'm just like, I don't know where they pointed to. It was like, that's the trans joke that we should cancel him for. Like, can anybody kind of think back through it and be like, that's the one that went too far?
Well, maybe we won't. Well, I guess it's a cop out say maybe we won't pick up on it, because I think what Bobby was saying earlier, 20 years from now, our kids are watching like, ooh. Mm-hmm. I think it's so ingrained in us. Things that we accept. Like, you'll go watch something old, an old comedy show, or you watch anything, you're like, ooh, I can't believe they got away with that shit. Like, ooh, that was kind of wild. But we pick up on, they might pick up on it 20 years from now. But it's like, that wasn't, something's wrong with it. I just don't know what. It just didn't sit right with me. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what it is. It's like, I can't necessarily point my finger at it, and that might be the problem. Is let's create the dialogue so somebody can tell me what exactly was wrong with it. I don't know. We talked about a lot of stuff, but one thing he did talk about was, and I think, Byron, you were getting onto it, but we really didn't get into it too deep, was the John Gruden thing. I mean, he brought it up, and it was funny because there was a post, maybe Sunday night? It's like, who's going to lose their job first, Urban Meyer or John Gruden? That was you?
Yeah. I posted that yesterday, like right before he got fired. I didn't know he was gonna get fired that fast. Well, He resigned.
Yeah, but it was that was one of the things he said was almost anything flies when it's going against black people, and when it's an attack or something that inconveniences the LGBTQ community, it seems like there's immediate action. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Let's not even talk about it. Let's just nip it in the bud. And whether he's 100% right, whether he's 50% right, 50%, whether he's partially right, you have to pay attention to it. You have to kind of notice it. Like, I don't believe in any absolutes, but it's still kind of like, man, we do see the retaliation. It's very swift, and is no questions about it. This is how this is handled. And I think that's why I think when you were saying Black people should be more empathetic, it's hard when you're seeing everybody else eat or be like, whether we empathize with them or not, or people or not, others are going to empathize with them. So why us too? It's like we empathize with everybody, but it's we don't seem to get that same level of empathy. And it's not, well, I guess it is like, man, at what point is somebody, when is somebody going to save us? When is somebody going to have that same, you know what? You're right. I can be a white gay male, but still there's advantages to being a white male that could help your cause.
Doesn't matter till it happened to white people. I think that was one of his points.
All right, fellas. I mean, I think we covered a lot. At least we talked a lot. I don't know if we covered a lot, but we talked a lot.
This was fun, man. Yo, Bobby held his own. It was like 3-on-1, man.
It was. I apologize about that too. Like, yeah.
Fine. I was having a great time talking to y'all. It was
Bobby,
really nice, man.
Bobby's used to being one of the. If I don't comment, I'm usually on Bobby's side on a lot of issues because he will take a road less traveled. He doesn't always go for the obvious solution. And even here, like I said, for me, I think Dave Chappelle, I'm not necessarily saying his views are right. I think it's the gist of it is like, let's start the conversation. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me, but we shouldn't be canceled for disagreeing with each other, at least if we're still trying. So.
Now, I am interested to see whenever he does his next special, which he said he's taking time off. Mm-hmm. When he does his next special, he vowed at the end of the closer, he's done with those jokes until he knows that they're laughing with him. So I am interested to see if he keeps his word on that. And what's been crazy is, everybody's focusing on Sticks and Stones and the closer. But in between that, he did a short 20-minute special called 846. Mm-hmm. And I think that should have been more of a talking piece than this in some ways. And even then, again, that kind of speaks to what the closer was about. He's talking more about LGBTQIA. That gets all the commentary. 846, he was calling out white people, racism, the police, the injustices that's going on. George Floyd had just been killed. Hardly anything. And I think that's one of the points he's making.
Well, that's a good one. All right, fellas, you want to go ahead and close it out?
Yeah, we do this thing called parting shots, Bobby. So with you coming on and I guess having the minority opinion, man, just your final take for the show, get it out there, and we'll go around the show.
Oh, yeah. My final take is, I think what I think we've all been saying is just listen when people speak. I think that's the most important thing that we can do, and just listening to understand, and really trying to just dissect what people are saying, not for the purpose of breaking it down, but just to understand. So, and I think that's what we're trying to do here. And I'm glad we were able to do that, or at least try to do that.
Man, so a few things for me. Two of them concerns Bobby. One, I just want to piggyback on what you said. When people say, listen to one another, it's not just not interrupting somebody when they're talking, but like he just said, listen to try and understand. Don't listen to just get your point across as soon as they're done talking. Try to listen and understand and even empathize. That's one thing. Two, I'm grateful for you coming on the show, man, because even though I think we mostly disagree, your point of view definitely needed to be on this episode in particular. So very grateful you came on. The other two things I wanted to mention was Ferg mentioned it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month this month. It's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I just want to let people know to be aware of that. I can't give you any advice on how to help someone. The only thing I can say is that if you know someone that needs help, make sure they know that they can depend on you for whatever type of help they need, because everyone needs different types of help. It's not as simple as just she should just leave him, or in a 10% case, he should just leave her, because there are men that are getting abused as well. And to the manosphere out there, I know there are a lot of popular people that are getting popular on YouTube and saying things like women are exaggerating about how much they're being abused. Keep in mind, half of the cases don't ever get reported. So please don't listen to that nonsense. The final thing I just want to hit on Dave again, and I'm going to kind of agree with Bobby on this one because I am on Dave's side. I do agree with him, but I do think we all should be careful when we say stuff like they shouldn't be offended by something. Now, I will agree with Bobby. We can't tell them what not to be offended by because I'm not gay. To my best of my knowledge, none of us on here are gay or trans. So it's kind of hard to say that when you're not in their shoes. My only argument is don't try to get people canceled. When you hear things you like, be willing to talk to them, get them to understand your point of view versus just trying to shut them up, shut them down, and get them canceled. So I definitely have mentioned my blind spots before. Ferg mentioned lifestyle. I had a gay coworker that broke that down to me because I didn't understand why lifestyle was so offensive. And she broke it down. She said lifestyle is like a diet or you're going to start working out or things like that. That's a choice. Gay people don't feel like that's a choice. They were born that way. So that's all I got.
Only thing I got, man, is I know Ferg talked about BB, and I don't want to say they need help or anything like that, but folks, make sure that you have looked at your life insurance policies, know what you have, and know what you need. Because I'm going through it. I've got a sick uncle right now, and family scrambling trying to get insurance and everything on them, and it may be too late, right? Because by the time. Usually when folks need insurance, they can't get insurance. So, it make sure that while your family's healthy and everything like that, you're out there, you're going to get insurance, and keeping it up while you're healthy so that in the case that you do need it, because things happen very suddenly, and it can be too late whenever you do find out that you need it. So just go out there, talk to somebody, get some insurance, health insurance as well as life insurance, but definitely life insurance, because you never know when you're going to need it. And when you need it, it's too late at that point. So that's all I got, man.
So you made me think of, there's a couple of things then. We've had this insurance talk several times. We're going to get an insurance salesman on the show to talk about insurance one day, very soon. Staying on the insurance front, open enrollment is opening up for most people. So to our listeners who have family members, especially older family members, even younger family members, verify that they have insurance. And if not, go look at the exchange, do yourself a favor. And I tell you, we did that last year for my dad, and it saved my family as far as getting health insurance for him. As you all know, my dad had a stroke, I think January of this year. His insurance kicked in January 1 of this year. So by the grace of God, at least that was in place. And, it was one of the first things the hospitals asked for is insurance. I'm hit on what you guys were talking about, communication. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have this show. Anytime I debate with somebody on Facebook or whatever, it's all about communication. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we have to start communicating and learning to respect each other's opinion and the fact that we're at least trying to understand each other. I'm big on talking about intent. We might not agree 100%, Bobby, and I just throwing you out there, for example, but the fact that I'm trying to understand and the fact that I might be 10% more knowledgeable about your situation by the time the conversation is over, that's progress. That's how we get there. People aren't going to, I'm 40 years old, to expect me to undo everything I've learned for 40 years. If we're being realistic, is very, it's crazy. But we feel like we have one conversation. If they don't understand you, then they're wrong. It's like, let's communicate, because communication works both ways. You were talking about the LGBT community, Buff. And the same thing I tell Black people. If you want people to listen to you, you got to listen to them. And you don't have to agree with them, but to understand potentially where they're coming from, like why they believe this, why they see it this way. And maybe you'll understand a little bit more, and maybe it'll help build your story. And the last thing, Bobby, I kind of got to give your law school a shout out. Can't believe I'm doing this. TSU. So have you seen that they're requiring anybody who's wanting to join a Greek organization to attend a credit workshop? So they really want them to understand the basics of credit.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's dope. So like, if you want to, before you pledge, it has nothing to do with it, but like, we want you to come to a class on credit. So I think that's something that should be implemented, and just not for people who want to pledge. I think it should be something that's talked about in middle school, high school, at all levels when it comes to finance, is real life scenarios. So it's only going to happen once. I tip my hat to TSU, Texas Southern University, for doing something like that. So, and with that being said, Three Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Did I get all 6? Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, most importantly. Yeah, that's it.
Slow with it, bro.
Bro, it's a long day, bro. I'm 40, bro.